I'd like to introduce you today the wonderful people of the 82nd District of Virginia Beach who are here today in the Capitol for District Day. They have had a wonderful tour of the library this morning. They've had an awesome meal from Merriweather's, and this afternoon they'll have a fabulous tour of our Capitol. And I'd also like to, for my personal privilege today, introduce you to a friend of mine, Bill Muehleib. Bill, if you could please stand. He's joining us in the back of the galley. While growing up in Allenton, Pennsylvania, Bill would visit his grandmother's house and listen to Hawaiian music on the Victrola. A curious boy by nature, he always wanted to visit the Hawaiian Islands. He got his wish when he arrived in Hawaii, November 1940, as a member of what was then the Army Air Corps. Bill was on temporary assigned duty to the Hawaiian Air Force Aviation Mechanics School and was there in the 10th week of a 12-week course. The story I have today is a privilege of hearing it from Bill directly, and I'd like to share with you today. The story starts about 20 November 1941, when the entire student population, including Bill, was told that effective Monday, they'd be relieved from their classes and would form a ground defense battalion with perimeter positions around Hickam Air Force Base and other critical areas throughout Hawaii. They were scheduled to standard guard duty, 2 hours on, 4 hours off. They moved into 6-man pyramidal tents. The tents were located outside the old non-commissioned housing area. None of the ground defense people were authorized to leave the immediate area. On 6 December, they were told that on Monday, 8 December, they'd be relieved by the 21st Infantry, 3rd Battalion. Bill came off duty at 0600 Sunday morning, the 7th, was transported by truck to the mess hall for breakfast. Bill had finished eating and was back in his tent for some rest by 0700. He was fast asleep, and at 0755, when he awakened by what sounded like explosions on Hickam Field. He looked out the tent and noticed a low-flying aircraft marked with red balls on the wings, dropping bombs on the hangars at Hickam. In a matter of minutes, they were dressed with their equipment, waiting for trucks to pick them up and drop them off at their duty stations. While waiting for the trucks, they could watch the Japanese aircraft flying over the field and see the bombs released from the wings and arc of their targets. The noise was intense from the bombs. They could see the explosions and the resulting fires, as well as the damage to the flight line, the hangar area, and the consolidated barracks. They were firing personal weapons from their tent area. When there was a break in the action, they were loaded into trucks that sped toward the road to the bomb dump, where they crossed the runways and therefore in plain view of the attacking aircraft. Just as they cleared the runway area, a Japanese dive bomber equipped with 20mm cannons, 7.7 machine guns, firing forward, and a rear gunner with a machine gun spotted their vehicles. As they got into position to strafe their trucks, the driver pulled to the side. They all cleared out, laid in a straight line, one man behind the other. The Japanese had no shortage of more important targets than their deuce and a half. Our trucks proceeded, as Bill stated, to drop them off at their gun positions. About this time, they were able to reflect back on what was happening. The sky was black from the burning ships at Pearl Harbor and from the hangar in the barracks area at Hickam Air Force Base. To a lesser degree, a second attack got underway, but they were too distant from their firing aircraft, which were concentrated at Pearl Harbor. They were too far away and never fired around. The spirit of the troops could not have been higher for the weeks following the attack. It was never too much trouble to do anything requested by anyone. The greatest joy was in running into and across one of your friends that you had no way of knowing until that moment whether or not they survived the attack. The downer, of course, was when you confirmed that another friend didn't make it. Bill returned to Canton Island, May 1943, was rotated back to the States in June 1943. He was discharged from the service as a line chief technical sergeant in September of 1945 in Fresno, California. Bill returned to Pennsylvania and worked as a salesman until recalled for the Korean conflict and assigned to a B-29 organization. Later, that transitioned into the 1st Jet Bomber Squadron with B-47s. Bill later sold his business in April of 1955, moved to Virginia Beach, where he spends time traveling, skiing, playing golf, as well as visiting his 4 children, and 7 grandchildren. Let's please remember, ladies and gentlemen, the attack that lasted more than 90 minutes, took the lives of more than 2,300 servicemen, and wounded more than 1,200. The attack sank 4 battleships, destroyed more than 180 aircraft, and damaged more than 150 planes. Bill lost friends, squadron mates, and family in the attack. These attacks immediately plunged the United States into World War II. It was that day in history that lives on for infamy. I'm honored to be here today to introduce Bill Muehleib, Pearl Harbor survivor, the president of Pearl Harbor Survivors Association, a friend, a neighbor, and a true war hero. Please join me in thanking Bill for his service.
It's indeed an honor for us to have you with us today. And we can't begin to thank you for all that you've done for our country over many generations. We just thank you and appreciate you being here today.